Some of the women on my mom's side of the family are seeing female pattern hair loss, myself included. I was born with a thick, rich head of hair, and I've had it since birth through my mid-20s when I started to see excessive hair loss. And I wouldn't say it bothered me then, but when I got into my mid-30s, that's when I started to really notice it. There was a time when I would have to pull down my hair in order to see my scalp. And now you can easily see it. In fact, it's really thin on top. And that runs in my family. I wouldn't say all of the females in my family have this, but my grandmother, when she was alive, you could see her scalp from 10 feet away. And I always thought, oh, please don't let that be me, because I knew it was genetic. And it looks like it is going to be me, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing to circumvent that as much as possible. Hi, my name is Marina. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to talk about hair loss, specifically for those of us post-menopause. However, there are other reasons besides being post-menopausal that we lose our hair. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's nutrition, sometimes it's psoriasis on the scalp or other scalp diseases. And so today I want to talk about the different things that cause hair loss and what we can do to help slow down. There was a time in my early 20s, 30s, maybe even early 40s, when it really bothered me. I felt anxiety. I felt some shame. I specifically had social anxiety. I didn't want to leave the house and be with a bunch of people when I felt like everybody could be looking at my scalp. It really does take a toll on some women. And now in my 50s, it bothers me enough to do something about it, but I don't let it affect me as much as it used to. In fact, a lot of things don't affect me as much as it used to. And I think I'm in that I don't give a stage of my life, which is a wonderful place to be. For those of you who are not in your 50s yet, hopefully you'll get there. Right now, things bother you. Hopefully you'll get to the point of your life where it's, I'll get over it. They'll get over it. Whatever. Some of that probably has to do with my poor memory, and I just forget about stuff like that. So there was a study, actually a few studies, that show that women between the ages of 50 and 65 have about a 1 in 2 chance of having some form of hair loss. 1 in 2. So 50% of us between ages 50 to 65 start or see female pattern hair loss. Female pattern hair loss is really it's in the crown, it's in the part, whereas men typically get it here. We don't get a receding hairline for the most part. We get just sparse up here on top. So in my anxiety, depression, I don't know if I want to call it depression, because I've never had true depression, and I don't want to minimize that for those of you who have. So I tried to avoid using that word, but the anxiety, the stress, the social anxiety especially, many women have anxiety, social anxiety, stress. They have feelings of just negative feelings about losing hair. And it's not a vanity issue. It's a real psychological issue. And I think not enough women talk about this topic. Sure, I've told my good friends, like, oh my gosh, I'm losing so much hair. Oh my gosh, I've told my sister, I see all the hair on the shower that I have to pull it out of the drain. I have to pull it out of the drain and then stick it on the side of the tub until I get out so I can wrap it in paper and throw it in the trash can. And my friends and my sister and my mom, we all talk about that once in a while, once in a blue moon. So I sometimes feel alone, like, even though it runs in my family, not all my relatives, female relatives, get it or have it. And it's a touchy subject to bring up. Even my cousin, who I'm very close to, I feel like I can tell her anything. I just feel like I have people I should be able to turn to talk to about this, to maybe have an emotional connection because we're going through the same thing, but it feels taboo. So let's talk about what hair growth is. Hair growth has 3 cycles. The anagen phase, which is about 2 to 6 years. I've seen up to 10 years is what I read, but for the most part, I've seen 2 to 6 years. And that's why your hair only grows a specific length and then it stops, because it's growing during that phase. Of course, it's not all your hair at one time. It has different cycles, but your hair is growing for about 2 to 6 years in this anagen cycle or anagen phase. Then you've got the catagen phase. The catagen phase is about 2 weeks. I've seen up to 3 months, but again, mostly they're saying 2 weeks. And this is a transition phase. So your hair just stops growing and it's not falling out yet in the catagen phase. But then you have the telogen phase. And this will last about 3 months. And this is when your hair is falling out. So you lose about 100 to 150 hairs a day, which seems like a lot, especially when you see it in your hand, right? The reason why I think I see it a lot or feel it a lot in myself is because I have a bad habit of pulling my hair back. So my hair is either in a ponytail, I just can't stand it in my face. So it's in a ponytail all day long. I don't have it with me, but it's either in a ponytail or in a clip, usually in a clip because I like it off of my neck. I just seem to get hot a lot. But in the morning, when I take a shower, that's when all the hair comes out. When I'm washing it and it's agitating my scalp, that's when my hair really falls out. So my hair is not loose all day long for the most part, and that's why I'm probably feeling it a lot in the shower. The anagen phase is influenced by your age, by hormones, which hormone changes come with age, by inflammation on your scalp, by nutrition, by stress. All these things can affect the anagen phase or the growth phase. Some other things that can affect hair growth is medications, UV radiation, and smoking. As we age, it's not just hair loss that affects us, but also the hair texture, such as like my hair is really dry now. It was never this dry before. And that's because of the lack of sebum production. It doesn't help that I wash my hair every day. Sometimes I wash it in the morning and then at night. So that doesn't help. But it's not just the dryness. Your hair could be more brittle, which I don't think my hair has become more brittle, but definitely drier, more wiry. And of course, the gray hairs. I'm seeing a lot of gray hairs. And also inflammation. The follicles actually get inflamed. When we're in postmenopause, your hair is in a shorter anagen phase because of the decrease in estrogen. And also, not only is your growth cycle shortened, but the telogen phase is also longer, or that shedding phase, it's actually extended with the decrease in estrogen. So I don't want to bore you with too many scientific details here because it's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of my video is to tell you what's been working. But the real villain is DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone. It binds the receptors in the genetically susceptible follicle, and it causes that follicle to shrink. And then once it's shrinking, it's not going to grow hair anymore. A decrease in estrogen can also create loss of blood flow and nutrients to the hair follicles, so they eventually stop growing hair. So what are some things that we can do to help this slow down? One thing that I did is I went to my dermatologist, who's also a scalp or hair specialist, and she had me purchase this thing called a HairMax. It's an LED light, and I put it on for 90 seconds, and it's about this thick. And I put it right here, and then I push it towards the back for 30 seconds each, and then back here. So it's about 30 seconds each one, and it has a timer, so the light, it buzzes and then the light turns off. Or it doesn't turn off, excuse me, it flashes, so then you move it back. And that only takes me 90 seconds every day. It's a low-level laser therapy. And HairMax has a brush, or they call it a comb, but it looks like a brush that you can use. I don't have that one. I like mine better because it's 90 seconds and it goes from here to here. So it's pretty big. It is the first FDA, not approved, but FDA cleared device for hair loss. So the important distinction is it's not approved, meaning it's not showing proven results, but it's cleared, meaning that it's safe. And honestly, I have seen an improvement. I have seen actually quite a big improvement. How it works is the red light penetrates the scalp and stimulates the cellular energy in the follicle to move it from the resting phase or the second phase of the cycle back to the growth phase of the hair cycle. I've been using it for a while. And like I said, I think it's been at least 9 months. And with anything that you're using to regrow hair, you have to give it some time. And you can't just give it days, weeks. You really have to give it months to see any sort of improvement in your hair loss. As with almost any device, you have to continually use it every single day or whatever the directions say. You have to use this device continually. You can't stop because then the results also stop. Topical minoxidil is another thing that I've been using, and I think this is helping me as well. So I'm using that red light therapy, the HairMax, every single day, and I'm also now using minoxidil, topical minoxidil, on my scalp. It has a dropper. I get it at Costco. I first had a foam, but that one was pretty expensive, and I think I got it through the derm store. But then I went to Costco and I just happened to be looking and I'm like, oh, minoxidil, like for, I can't remember, I think it was like $20 for 3 bottles. And that's lasting me quite a bit because I just use one dropper just where I need it. And then I rub it in with my hands, and then of course I wash my hands. So I think that's helping me as well, obviously, because minoxidil is FDA approved for hair loss. So I can't stop using that either because what's going to happen is my hair is going to start falling or shedding again. How minoxidil works is it helps with vasodilation. Vasodilated blood vessels help to carry more nutrients and oxygen to your hair follicles, which stimulates hair growth. I use the 5% minoxidil, and I believe it typically states on there it's for men, but it is safe for women as far as what I've seen. Now, of course, you need to talk to your doctor about this, but I think typically a lot of the foams or the ones that say for women or for female pattern hair loss is 2%. Minoxidil doesn't fix the follicle. It just helps promote better conditions for hair growth. When you stop it, you hadn't fixed anything. You're just slowing down the shedding. So it's just, your hair is just going to go back to its baseline of shedding as much as it used to. I'm not going to go much into nutrition because honestly, I haven't changed the way I've eaten. I haven't done a ton of research in this. And I think it's really up to you and your doctor to talk about the nutrition. But I know that there are things that affect hair loss more. I'm sure many of us know that when we have hair loss, the first thing they say is take biotin, or it helps your fingernails and it helps your hair grow. But also zinc, collagen, protein, vitamin D, and iron. A lot of these things you should review with your doctor. So I've read or heard a lot of people say that when they go to a dermatologist or a hair specialist, that a lot of the times they feel dismissed. And I have to say that happened to me, so I switched to a different dermatologist. But what I mean is you go in there and they automatically want to blame stress or nutrition. Are you eating healthy? Are you stressed about stuff? Of course we're not eating healthy. Many of us Americans are not. And I'm not trying to be judgy, but that's just the truth. And then also stress. Life is stressful. We always have stress. So I don't understand that. Help me. Is when we go see a doctor, we just want to get help. And we want them to listen. Push for that full panel and make sure that your levels are where they should be. And then that way you can start ruling things out. There are other things that we can take that our doctor needs to prescribe, like an anti-androgen. And I haven't gone that route, but you can get this prescription through your doctor. They have seen improvements by about 56 to 65% with these anti-androgens. There are so many other things that you can try, like microneedling and, of course, a hair transplant, which is expensive and I think painful. One thing that my cousin tried is PRP, or platelet-rich plasma. She said that they take your blood, they spin it, they do something to it, and then they inject it into your scalp. Sounds painful, but she's hoping that it's going to work. She's not going to know for about 6 months whether or not it worked. It was really expensive. I think she told me it cost her like $2,500 for one session. So I wish I would have been able to go with her to see it, because it sounds really interesting, and I'm hoping that it works for her. The AR gene, or the androgen receptor gene, is on the X chromosome, meaning it comes from your mother, right? I think the old wives' tale was like, look at your mom's dad, and if he's bald, then you're gonna go bald. But that's not really the case. It's really your mom or your mom's mom. So that's where the AR gene is. This AR gene shows sensitivity to DHT, which is what causes your hair to fall out. So in conclusion, I think what you should walk away with is, don't give up. Don't let it bother you to the point of depression. There is help. There is hope. We just have to try to find it. It took me a long time to actually get motivated to do something about it, because things are expensive, right? And it's time consuming. As a mother, as a wife, as just a person in here on planet Earth, we're so busy all the time. It's just go. I live in California, and I feel like it's always go, go. There's never a downtime. There's always something to do. But I've come to realize that I need to start taking care of myself. That was the whole purpose for me starting this channel. So I'm hoping that this gives you a little bit of insight. And also, if you're out there struggling with hair loss, don't feel alone. There's a whole bunch of us out here in the same boat, trying to find something that will work for us. Don't fall for any scams. Talk to your doctor, get a full blood work, find a board-certified dermatologist to help you. And be patient. Above all, be patient. Things are going to take time when it comes to the hair cycle and you seeing growth. It's going to take at least 3 to 6 months, but really 12 months before you start seeing a real change for anything. And like I said earlier in the beginning, I'm doing a couple of things. I'm using the HairMax. I am putting on Minoxidil. And also I'm taking supplements for hair growth. I didn't mention that, but I am taking a supplement for hair growth. So I'm hoping that all of this will continue to help me, because my hairstylist has seen an improvement. Because I asked her, I said, are these little hair growths, is it hair growth, or is my hair starting to break? Is it just brittle hair that's breaking? And she's like, nope. She looked through my hair on my scalp. Nope, it looks like your hair is growing. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Now I don't know what to stop, if anything. So I'm just going to keep doing all three. Using my HairMax, using my Minoxidil, and taking my supplement. And the supplement, I think I'll have to put it in the comments, because I can't remember what it's called, because I dumped it into a different container. So I can put it in a nice container on my nightstand. But yeah, so just be patient, and I'll see you next week. Please leave a comment. I would love to see a comment, and then that way I can check out your channel and leave you a comment and get to know each other. Thank you.